Hello, and welcome to this training video. During this session, we're going to be talking about the different print options we have inside of the calendar. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to access the calendar by either hovering over the tab and then jumping right to the month calendar, multiple employee, or week calendar, or you can click directly on the calendar tab, which will take you to your own personal calendar, which is what we'll do now. Okay. So once we get to our calendar, it's going to default to your own personalized view, but you will have access to other employees' calendars with the use of this drop-down menu. Understand also that I can look at 3 different views of the calendar from the screen: a day view, a week view, or a month view. I also have access to other views of the calendar itself with this drop-down menu where I can see the multiple employee day view, multiple employee week view, multiple employee month view, and the group calendar, which is just a predefined grouping of employees that you'll be able to customize yourself. Now, the purpose of this training video is to talk about the different print options we have. And to access the print options, we're going to use this button up here in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, so that's going to give us this little pop-up window, and let's kind of discuss the different options we have from here. So, I can print a full calendar. I can print my calendar without job alerts, I can print my calendar without special instructions, and I can print a live calendar. Okay, so let's focus on these 3 items here first. The first thing that we'll talk about is the print full calendar, which is going to be the calendar based on whatever time frame you select, but it will include job alerts and special instructions. Now, job alerts and special instructions, these are really going to vary depending on how you're utilizing them inside of your company. Now, from a next gear standpoint, here are some examples of how both of these items can be used. So just to make sure we're on the same page, job alerts and special instructions are potentially day-to-day type things that are being entered on jobs to keep people informed. A job alert is basically a disclaimer that goes on a job letting people know that, hey, you need to know about this. For example, this could be a special alert that tells people, don't ask for the husband, he passed away in the fire. That way, if I'm about to call the homeowner, I know not to ask for the husband because he's no longer with us. Or this file is currently under litigation, don't give out any information over the phone. Examples of special instructions, and this is a field that's entered whenever a new job is created. Examples of special instructions could be what the lockbox code to get into a property is, or a gate code to get into a community. There's reasons why you may not want to print that out and give it to someone, because if they left it on site, it could fall into the wrong hands, and then there could be an issue. Or they could leave it at a restaurant during lunch, and then someone has the ability of getting into a gated community. So it's really important that you know how your company is using these items. So that's why you have the ability when you're printing, you can print your calendar without these printing out on them. Okay, so let's take a look at what a printed calendar looks like first, and then I'll explain what print live means. So I'm going to click on my print full option, and then I'm going to decide on my date range. So I could print just today, I could print the previous week, the previous month, or I could even print a custom range, which will allow me to choose my start and end points. So I'll say from today all the way until December 31st, and then I'll click on my print button. Now you'll want to make sure your pop-up blocker is off, because it's going to give you a little window here, and this is what it looks like. So I'm only looking at Joe's calendar, so it's only going to show me Joe's stuff, and here's what we have. So here's an example of a special instruction. Now I do have the ability of hiding that if I wanted to when I printed this. This job doesn't have a job alert, but if it did, it would read it up here. But if I chose no job alert, nothing would show up here. But this is just showing me customer's name, address information, phone numbers, when they're supposed to be there, how long they're supposed to be there, and then the task is basically what we told them they're going to be doing. And as I scroll down, this is just going to show every calendar event based on the time frame that I had selected there. Okay, so I also have the ability of either physically printing this to my printer, or I can export this to a PDF file, which will then save it to my computer, and then I could email it if I wanted to. So if I want to deliver this via email to whoever it needs to go to, I have that option. Okay, so we'll close this. Let's click on my print options again. So once again, these two options are going to look just like what we showed with the full, except it's not going to be without the job alert, or it's going to be without the special instructions, just depending on whatever option that I choose. Now, the print live option, all that's going to be is just going to be a screenshot, essentially, of the calendar view. So people like this a little bit better sometimes, so I'll print this and show it to you. So that's going to open up this little prompt, and then I'm going to click on OK. And this is what we'll get. So this just gives a kind of from a visual standpoint, an actual calendar that people can look at and see what they have. Now, some of the functionality that you do lose by going this route is if this was, if these were smaller boxes and they were job related, you may not be able to see the actual address, phone number, things like that for the job itself. So you kind of have to pick and choose which way works best for you, especially based on the scenario. Okay? All right, so we'll go ahead and close this. Okay, now it also needs to be pointed out, if I print my live calendar, none of this matters down here. It's only going to print what is visible on the screen right now. So when I'm doing my printing, I can print full, which means I can choose the time I want to print. But if I print live, which is this, the screenshot, it's only going to be what is displaying on the screen right now. Okay? Now, with these printing options, if you go to any other view of a calendar, so if I went to the group calendar, I'm going to have the same printing options at my disposal if I want them. Okay, so now we are on the group calendar, and I'm just going to choose a preset group that I already have done. And if you want more information on the group calendar or just a basic overview on the calendar section, feel free to check out the training video associated with that. Now, if I want, I can just click, hover over my print options here, and I have the same options. I could print a live calendar, and that's just going to show me that screenshot again. So there's everything that I have on the calendar. Or I can print a full, choose my date range, or I could print today if I wanted. And the nice thing about this is, since I'm on the group calendar, it's going to show every employee in that calendar view that I'm currently looking at. It's not going to show me just one. So if I start scrolling down this list, I can see, okay, these are all Kathy's, but as I scroll down to more and more, here's some of Franny's, Kaylee's, and so on and so forth. And then once again, I can hide the special instructions, I can hide job alerts. It's all depending on what process is going to work for your company. And where you're going to want to start with that is, how is my company using those fields currently, and how do we want to use those? Okay, and then of course I have those same options to either print physically to a printer, or I can export that to a PDF file if I'd rather have a digital copy that I can email to someone. Okay, so that's going to wrap up our printing options. Please feel free to check out the other calendar videos that we have, especially if you need to know how to physically put something on a calendar, or if you just want to know the different calendar options you have at your disposal. Okay, so thank you so much, and have a great day.